Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Confession. Story 1. I'm starting to become a danger to myself and others. I, F14, am well aware I'm starting to become dangerous to many. Let me start off by saying I have severe anger issues that I'm able to control without medicine, and I've been doing so for over a year now. Everything is going great and my doctor said I'm better off without medication anyways, as it's something I needed to find a control over, along with me hating the medication I was given due to loss of appetite and thirst it gave me. And things have been fine till this past month. I feel like I'm losing my mind and every little thing is becoming triggering. I should mention I'm a sister to 7, and I share a room with my 2 younger sisters. I'm used to it by now since I've never had a room to myself from the moment I was born to now. My second to youngest brother has anger issues like me, so that adds on to the daily problems in this household. My sisters are just annoying and very loud, and when I simply ask them to tone it down I get yelled at by my mom. It's stressful on both me and my brother Jonathan, who is only 10 months younger than me. Recently my second to youngest brother, Grayson, has been the one to wake me and my sisters up, and he's 7 to 8, so he's very loud and screams. It really gets on my nerves, especially when he continues to do it, not giving me a chance to even change out of my night clothes. The more he does it, the more irritated I become, but my thoughts start to become dangerous. When even slightly triggered recently, I've been getting thoughts to cause harm to people or ultimately think of doing the worst to them. I hate it because it's not me at all, and I would never want to hurt my loved ones, let alone do anything that could set them in the path of danger. I realize I'm rather hormonal given that I've gotten my cycle already, meaning I'm still going through puberty, but still, I'm starting to scare myself and I don't feel this is normal at all. I should also mention that my mom doesn't make these situations any better given the fact she always takes the younger sibling's side over mine, so I'm constantly in trouble. Nor do I get the attention I need. Still speaking, I'm considered a child as I'm still a teen and underaged. Anyways, she never gave me the attention I needed, and I recently got out of a mild depression where I was smoking, bodily harm, and a lot of other things. I've helped myself out of that shit. Not once did my mom or dad care to listen to my problems, and if they did listen they simply said, "Oh, suck it up Lena, you're fine," and it hurt my ego a lot. I just really need advice what to do because I'm at a complete and total loss, and I'm scared I'll end up snapping at someone and hurt them. I'm scared of what I could become in the future if this keeps up. I'm desperate for advice. ADP. Edit. Thank you everyone for support, and I've noticed some people are suspicious of me being the parent writing this, but I can explain that my writing is detailed and punctuations and almost on point in this. The reason it is like this is because I've taken classes for becoming a book writer, so I end up adding a lot of detail for better understanding to myself and others. Thanks for the suggestions though. I've tried the simpler ones out and reached out to a youth counselor for this as someone suggested it to me, and things are better. Story 2. I used to call into work with excuses, then turn them into reality. I used to be very depressed and the job I worked at didn't help. I was a young waitress at a small diner with old men hitting on me daily, think 65 plus. I know now I should have just quit, but I was scared of my boss's reaction, so instead I'd call in a few times a week. I would call in sick and drink way too much milk, lactose. I'd slash my tire and send him proof. Sometimes I'd even try to hurt myself. I hated working there. The AC was never fixed and I have syncope, so I'd often pass out. The boss was horrible to the employees and I only made about $250 to $300 a week. $200 or so in tips and the rest for hourly under the table. Plus majority of customers were creepy guys. Eventually I got out of that town and just quit, didn't even call. Looking back now I feel terrible and immature, but I'm glad I finally got out. Story 3. I stole drugs from a family member with cancer just so I can feed a craving for them. Last summer, I was invited to stay at my aunt's house for a couple of weeks. At the time, I knew she had tumors, but I did not know she had cancer. I went to stay there mainly because of my cousins. Unfortunately, one had to go for a while the older one got to stay. At the time, I smoked cigarettes and knew that I could be safe around her. My aunt knew, but not my uncle. So about every day I was there, we would just smoke and chill, and it was actually pretty okay, despite the bad habit. But she was very sick, having seizures, and severe dehydration issues. She was sent to the hospital, and now it's just me and the rest. It was fine at first, but eventually, I started treating it like my own home, which was bad. I treated everything like it was mine, I can do whatever I want with it. While my cousin was in the hospital, I would just hang in her room. Smoking, chugging down Red Bull, and headbanging to some Alice in Chains. I would also drink alcohol in secret. As long as my uncle didn't know what I was doing, I was fine. Few days later, I can't get any more cigarettes, because I didn't haste my cousin to supply me. I knew that she had money and some extra cigarettes in her safe, so she wouldn't mind if I borrowed some of each, right? Another few days pass, and I'm just thinking. My mother was and still is a junkie, and I naturally adapted to her lifestyle. She has used drugs on me, so they were damn well in my system before. I sneaked into my aunt's room to take some of my uncle's cigarettes, to also find my aunt's pills. She had opioid pills, so I knew that it would fuck me up if I took them. I thought, why not? She won't know. I didn't just take 1 or 2. I took around 5 just to get the effects of something like heroin or morphine. This kept on going for the next few days. I kept kicking the numbers up till I felt empty and hollow. What I was doing was killing me. Literally. And I knew that I should. When they discovered what I had been doing, I was then exiled, and shunned by her entire family. I am not blood related to her. Word got around, and eventually, everyone I knew knows what I have done. Now I am shunned by everyone, looked down upon by everyone. My age? 14. My life now is horrible. Story 4. I superglued my dad's car door shut and he still has no idea who did it. Exactly as the title says, and 9 years later I still feel bad about it and don't have the balls to tell him. I have no fucking clue as to why I even did it. I saw superglue in his car and just started putting glue along the seals on his door and closed it. I didn't even do it in a pranking way. Just a menacing, inconveniencing way. Dad was so understandably angry when he tried to open it, and eventually he just ripped it open and asked us who the hell did it. I pretended I was asleep the whole time, so he asked my brother if it was him, and of course he denied it, and Dad thought someone might have just came in our property and glued it shut. Fat chance there was like 3 phones and an iPad in the car, they would have been gone. Now that he lives 10 hours away, I'm going to call him and tell him I'll let you know how that one goes. Pray for me. Update. So I called and told him all about it, and he was just silent for like 10 super long seconds. I asked him to say something and he burst out laughing and said, who else was dumb enough to do that? I knew it was you, you dumbass. He fucking knew. He knew this entire time. He asked me why I did it. I just said I have no clue. He wasn't even mad, he actually forgot about that incident entirely until I brought it up. I truly am a dumbass. Story 5. Sometimes, not often though, I will embellish a story. It would be based on a true event. Sometimes I blow things out of proportion. Sometimes I embellish a story to make it funnier or make it more dramatic. Not all the time, thank God. Why do I want to make things up or blow things out of proportion? I also feel compelled to give unsolicited advice and then try to explain my way out of it. When I see a disaster waiting to happen, I say it out loud. I want to tell people how to live their lives. BC, they are so stupid in debt out their ass. Why do I care? Story 6. I bullied a girl into being pulled out of school. I regret it. Back in 3rd grade there was this weird girl in my class, but in reality she was just enjoying life differently. Late in the school year we were doing what we did, not talking to her in group work, excluding her in recess, etc. She had a mental breakdown and I'll never forget her words, why does everyone hate me? She later stopped going to school. She was genuinely a nice person. I regret bullying her. I wish I could say sorry. Story 7. Broke into my work drunk multiple times and stole heaps. When I was fresh out of high school I got a job at a certain Australia fast food joint. Somehow after a few months I was made restaurant manager for being the least stupid person there, I guess. While this job did say free food and one drink for managers on break, I took wildly liberal use of this. The cameras weren't working for over a year there, and the owners lived hours away in a big city. This was in a small town. So I would take enough food home each day to feed myself and my 2 housemates. I managed to get one of my housemates a manager job there too. It just got worse. We never paid for her food. And we were making 50k a year for 2 18-year-olds. Legit felt like kings. Only bills we had was rent and rego. Everything else was disposable. Rent used to be cheap AF in small towns. We would even go to the pub, and after lockout we would open the store and cook everyone a meal. The security company would call to check, but since we were the managers they would call us and we would say it's all good. Moved on in the world. Making really good money in a niche job, but I miss those simple times. Feeling like a hero cooking all my drunk mates' food at 3 AM. In hindsight, not a great idea being around scolding hot oil while cooked as fuck, but hey, nothing happened. Story 8. I burned the communal field in my neighborhood when I was 12. When I was 12, my cousins and I decided to make a bonfire at the pond near my house for no reason. Being the stupid kids that we were, the surrounding dead grass/weeds quickly caught flame and the whole field by said pond starting burning out. I tried to pee on the engulfing flames, but it's pretty hard to go when you're extremely anxious by an ongoing fire with pedestrians headed your way. My cousins and I decided to run away, and by some luck we never got caught. Walked back over the next day and 4 acres of land was burnt to dust. Story 9. I stole a very deserving award from my best friend. When I was in 8th grade I used to train as an athlete and I decided to take my best friend with me too. I used to train him at first, because he was new and didn't know how to start and all, but my mate was a naturally gifted athlete, a very fast runner. I was more like a distance runner. We both participated in a district game of 100m race. Since there was huge number of participants, the race was divided into 3 groups. The timings were recorded and the first, second, and third was based off on timings. My best friend got number 2, but he didn't know as they didn't reveal the winners that day as there were many competitions left, and I didn't win anything. I got second in my group, but my buddy was overall number 2. I belong to an Indian family, very competitive parents. I thought if my parents knew that my buddy beat me in something I was training longer, I will be humiliated, and I got jealous too. There was a prize distribution ceremony the next day. I told him that I talked to some seniors and teachers through my father's phone and they said that we both didn't win. I lied, and I am still ashamed. He could have been selected in nationals as well. I still think about it and I just hate myself. I'm 23 now. This happened when I was 15. He still is my best friend. But I can't live with this on me. I don't think he will forgive me for it and I will lose the friendship just letting this out, probably first and last time. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.